Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the second episode of small mini program thingies that I'm doing because I can. It's 12:35 a.m. and I'm bored, so I'm going to create a Final Fantasy X Bhed Translator. Which, if you don't know, Final Fantasy X is a video game, and Bhed is a language in the video game, which is pretty much like a letter swap kind of thing. So if I can find, there it is. So pretty much this is what I'm going to translate here. A is Y, B is P, C is L, D is T, and vice versa. I'm going to do a English to Albed as well as an Albed to English dictionary, which is a data structure in C Sharp, which I will show you. So first, let me get off by saying this is. Let me get off by saying, good lord. Let me start off by saying this is a Visual Studio 2015. I'm using C Sharp, and this is a Forms application, which is a default template you can use. This right here is the form itself. You can decide how wide you want it, tall you want it, do whatever you want to it. First things first, I'm actually going to go to the form1.cs and change the title upon initialization. This is going to change the title, and this dot text, and we're going to make it albed. No, albed. I can't type. Boom. So upon starting up, where it says Form 1 up here at the top, it's just going to change it to Bhed Translator. I guess I could show it now. See, Bhed Translator. So, yay, now we have something that describes what it's doing. In order to do this, I'm going to do this object-oriented as opposed to roughly procedural. Let's go ahead and add a new item, and it's going to be a class, C# class. We're going to call it Translator. A translator class. And we're going to go ahead and let me say that the dictionary data structure, if you know Java, it's fairly similar to a hash map. If you don't know what either of those are, I'll explain it as we make them. Let me go ahead and create the English dictionary. And we'll do dictionary. I'm going to do char values. Char. That should be a comma, not a period. English dictionary is a new dictionary, and it's going to give me that. No parameters, because it's going to be default, and we'll do the same thing for an Albed dictionary as well. Shoot, I didn't want to do that. Oh well. Basically, I already had created the English dictionary, and I copied and pasted, or I had it copied to my clipboard, but now I just copied and pasted this, so it's not there anymore, which means I have to retype it all over again. Hooray. Oh well. Albed dictionary. And so now we have our dictionary objects pretty much initialized right here in the class, so these will be used throughout the entire scope of this. We could make these public static. If you're in a class like this, its default will be private. We could also, say private just for actual declaration, which wouldn't hurt, so I'm going to do that. Because we only want these to be used by the translator class itself. We don't want to be used anywhere in the Form 1. So, security reasons, whatever you want to call it. So in order to actually add values to the dictionary, we're going to need to put these inside of a constructor, which is pretty much called upon class initialization, which, I might get into that later, I might not. So public translator is going to have no parameters. It'll be a default constructor. Let's go ahead and constructor. And so pretty much a dictionary pretty much adds a key value and, well, a key, and that key has a value for it. So if we want to say English dictionary add, we're going to add the first value, A, and the first letter in the alphabet is Y. So whenever we are translating, we're going to step through the sentence letter by letter by letter. Whenever it finds an A, it's going to replace it with a Y. And that's pretty much all a dictionary is. So I have to do this 26 times for the English one, 26 times for the Albed one. But I will show you a nice little trick after I do this, because you don't want to sit here and watch me do this 26 times for this thing. So I will be back after I do that. Okay, I'm back, and here you can see all of the values have been added to the English dictionary with their corresponding Albed letter translation thing. So I'm going to go ahead and really quickly show you how to just, since it's a letter swap, we're gonna create a Bhed dictionary here in just like a couple of seconds, as opposed to the minute and a half it took me to do the other one. Well, not that much time, but whatever. So this is gonna be the Bhed dictionary, and what I'm going to do is go here, and it's the Bhed dictionary. And what you can do in Visual Studio, as well as a couple other IDEs and other programs, if you hold the Alt, you can go up in a column. If you hold the Alt key, you can do a column like that, and there you go. And oops, hold down that Alt key. And since it's just going to be a letter swap, we can do something nifty like this, and then we can just get the other values from here, and that saves a whole lot of time. So yay. There you go. Now you have your populated dictionaries. If you really wanted to, you could add in the other random characters you can do, but, I'll deal with those via if statements and checking things out. So now we just want to create our methods that will be used to translate this thing. So this is going to be translates English to Bhed, public string English to Bhed. It's going to take a string input, and we're going to have a string translation. We're going to set it to an empty string to start things off, to initialize it, and at the end of all things, we're going to return translation. And there's actually something we will do. I'm going to do return translation dot first, which is a method, dot toString, which is a method, dot toUpper. No, not toString again. I don't want to make a string another string. That would be silly. What this will do, it will uppercase the first letter of the translated string, which ultimately we're going to, as you'll see here in a second, make everything lowercase. That way it matches our key values. Because if it's uppercase, it's not going to match. You'll get an error, and it'll be annoying. So this will be the nose is itching. So we're going to make all characters lowercase. This will be a string input to translate, and that's going to be input, not indexer, dot to lower. There it is. And this will be the string to hold the translation. So there you go. That's pretty much all the variables we need for this. The next thing we need to do is create a for loop to go through each letter of said string or said sentence. So we're going to do a for I equals 0, I is less than input to translate dot length. I do I plus plus. So what this is going to do is going to step through every letter. It starts at 0 because technically the first letter of a string is 0, because a string is basically an array of characters. So we're going to do something like, first we're going to check and make sure it's actually a value we want to translate. So like it's going to be, between A or Z, not another value. So if input to translate I is less than 96, or input to translate I is greater than 122, I think. Let me double check on that. I don't know my ANSI codes. Give me a table. Lowercase z is 122, so yeah. So we want to do a not. Never mind. Because it doesn't like that. Cannot be applied to type char. Oh, right. So, pretty much what we're doing here, we're going to see if it's a value that's less than 96, which means it's going to be pretty much any symbol or capital letter, like, a period, exclamation mark, capital A. If it's greater than 122, it's going to be either like a parentheses or a bracket or something. We don't want to translate those pretty much because they're not in our dictionary. So if we do that, it'll just pretty much skip over them, but we don't want to skip over them. We want to actually add those to the translation because they're in the sentence. So translation plus equals input that translate I. And now, after that, we're going to add an else if statement. Else if Actually, we don't need an else if, we just need an else statement. Else translation plus equals input to translate. Actually, no, we need this is English to al bed. So we want English dictionary input to translate I. Semicolon. So what we're going to do here, we're going to make sure it's a valid character in our, dictionary here. If it's not, we're going to add this string as it is. If it is, we're going to translate it based on the letter. So pretty much if it's a C, well, this is English to al bed. So if it's an A, we'll replace it with a Y. If it's a D, we'll replace it with a T. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. And this one, we're going to return the translation. Capitalize the first letter of the sentence. And there you have it. This is pretty much all we're going to do. We're going to do the same thing for al bed to English. We're just going to have to, swap around the dictionary name, but that's pretty much it. Letter and translate if possible. So here we go. Make sure it's a valid character in our dictionary. So we're just going to copy this thing here, and we're going to paste it down here because the method's going to be similar, just different names. This is going to translate al bed, not al bed to al bed because that would be silly. English, if you could type, that would be great. Al bed to English. And now we need to go down here. Al bed dictionary. Al bed dictionary. There. So what this is doing, I've already explained before, but it's going to come through here. It's going to take the input. It's going to lowercase everything in the input. It's going to, well, if possible, pretty much. This is our translation string. It's going to hold the translation. It's going to step through every character. And if it's a valid character, we're going to translate it here. If it's not, we're just going to add it to the translated sentence. And we're going to return the translated sentence here, with the first letter being uppercased. So there you go. That's pretty much all we're going to need to do for this translator class. Next, we're going to go to the design window here, and we're going to actually create a couple components onto this thing. So first, we're going to add a label. Click and drag, drop it off here. We're going to call this thing the information label, because why not? And down here where it says text, we're going to give it its text value. So we're going to say, enter the sentence you want to translate. Add a colon. And we're actually going to drag it and drop it off over here a little bit. Move it down some. As right beside it, we're going to add a text box right there. You can drag and drop it, format it nicely, however you want to do it. This thing we're going to call the input box. And we could give it default text if we wanted to. I'm not going to. If you do this on your own and you want to, you can do it. Play around with it. Next on the list, we need some buttons. That way they can click and translate. Have a button here. This will be the English to al bed button. By the way, it's also very nice to have self-describing variables. As you can see in here, I have like the translation sentence, input to translate, English dictionary. Self-describing variables are very, very nice, and they're a must. So the text on this one will be translate English to al bed. Right? Yeah, English to al bed. And let's go ahead and resize the button so they can see the whole text. And we'll add another button. Boom. Go ahead and resize this one because we can. This will be the al bed to English button. And the text will be translate al bed to English. So what's nice about the forms builder, all you have to do is just double click the button and it will create the method for you. And all you have to do is just tell it what you want to do. So first we're going to create a translator object, the one that we created. It's a new translator, and it has no parameters. We don't have the default constructor. And we want to display the translated message in a dialog box. That way it's in their face saying, we translated it for you. So we want to do message box dot show. And we want translator dot English to our bed. And it's mad. Alright, guys need to do input box dot text. So what's happening here is whenever they click the English to our bed button, it creates our translator object, which we need to do because that's what holds our methods, that's what holds the dictionary. And pretty much all it's going to do is create a dialog box. It's going to call the translator.english to our bed. It's going to pass it the text that's in the input box. And all it's going to do is go in here. It's going to go to the right method, which is this one. It's going to go through everything, return it, and it's going to show it in a dialog box. And we'll do the same thing for this one. We'll just double click this. And we'll just Control C, Control V. This will be our bed to English. And that should be pretty much the gist of everything. Let's see. Let's run it. Oh no. It's mad. Okay, whatever. Hello. Translate English to our bed. Uh-oh. Stop dying. What did we do wrong? Uh-huh. 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 Mm-hmm. Oh. Is that why? Is that why? Is that why? I think that's why. Let me make sure on. Let me look at the documentation. Capitalize first letter. Make sure I'm doing this properly. Oh, I see. I see. So what this is doing is only returning the capitalized first letter. You know, it's been a while since I've worked with C# like this, so plus translation dot substring 1. No. Wow. Way off. So now, this is going to work out properly. So not only are we translating the first letter, which all it was doing was returning that first translated letter in a capitalized form, we're going to add the rest of the translation to it, starting at 1, which, as we explained earlier, the 0 is the first letter of the string, and everything else starts at 1 after that. So, you know, if you don't understand it, I understand. It takes a little bit of getting used to things starting at 0, but unfortunately, that's the way it is. Now let's try it again. Hello. English to our bed. Ramu. There we go. Now it's working properly. Somebody's playing Dota 2. So if we actually add some spaces and numbers in here, theoretically we should get that. Hooray! So now let's translate something from our bed to English. I need to resize that button. Ramu. And we get hello. So there you go. Ramu space 45 dot. Ramu or hello 45 dot. So let's go back to here and let me resize the button a little bit. And I'll save. And there you go. You can see everything. It works properly. You get your dialog box. If you can just type in gibberish if you want to, and it's going to translate it either way. So there you go. And that is how we created a basic, simple Bhed translator using C# and Windows Form Builder without really much of a hiccup. The only problem was that I forgot about this whole ordeal that you had to add on top of that. But, you know, cut me some slack, man. I haven't worked with, well, that specific part of C# in a while because I haven't really needed to. But alas, there you go. I'm actually going to start uploading these things to GitHub, and I will link to the project in the description of the video if you want to check it out. That's fine. If you don't want to, that's fine. I don't care. I pretty much have all my portfolio stuff on there anyway, so whatever. That's going to do it for this episode, so thanks for watching if you watched all the way. Otherwise, join me next time. Well, wait, what?